Washington, D.C., near the turn of the century. In 1905, about 3,500 Jews lived here, but more were coming every day. Many were new immigrants or factory workers seeking a better life. Jewish women, the daughters and granddaughters of immigrants, reached out to help the newcomers. Building on the Jewish tradition of Tzedakah, the religious obligation to help others, they created a community of caring in the Washington area. Jewish women in Washington found opportunities for tzedakah not only among the poor, but in their synagogues and in public life. Reaching beyond their traditional roles as homemakers or helpers in the family business, they created new opportunities to be organizers and leaders. Among them was Minnie Landsberg Goldsmith, fondly known as Aunt Minnie. After the Johnstown flood in 1889, Minnie Landsberg, then a teenager, gave a concert to aid its victims. Throughout her long life, she served the community, helping sick mothers and their children, reaching out to orphans and the elderly. She was a founder of the Washington Community Chest, now the United Way. She helped establish the Hebrew Home for the Aged and the Jewish Foster Home, and was president of United Hebrew Charities, now the Jewish Social Service Agency. Laura Baron Heidingsfeld was among the early members of the local section of the National Council of Jewish Women. They helped poor women and children, especially Jewish immigrants who could not speak English and needed work. The women of the council opened a settlement house in Southwest, later known as the Juanita Kaufman Nye Council House. Established first for Jewish children, it later offered a library, medical care, and recreation for Jewish and non-Jewish adults and children. While the National Council of Jewish Women branched out to secular causes and to people of all religions, the women of Hadassah believed that community service should be based in Jewish faith. Rebecca Herzmark Safer was one of the founders of the Washington chapter of Hadassah and served as its president. Determined to build a homeland for the Jewish people, the women of Hadassah established hospitals and supported educational programs in Jerusalem. Early in the century, local Jewish women sought more active roles in their congregations. They formed sisterhoods to raise money for the synagogue and for religious schools and cultural events.
The big task with us women is that of encouraging one another to take the reins in our hands and stimulate our women to the task of religious self-assertion. Carrie Oberdorfer Simon.
A Reformed Jew, Carrie Simon wanted religious equality for women and urged them to preserve the traditions and values of a Jewish home. She founded the Sisterhood of the Washington Hebrew Congregation and the National Federation of Temple Sisterhoods, the first nationwide sisterhood group. This organization raised funds for Jewish schools and translated prayer books and college texts for the Jewish blind. The women of the Federation also contributed to humanitarian causes worldwide.
It was not ladylike, it was too radical, it was way out, but we did it. Jeanette Gershamek Glassberg.
Along with their sisters of all faiths, Jewish women marched down Pennsylvania Avenue, demanding the right to vote. Rachel Brill Ezekiel marched down the avenue, her young daughter at her side. And Nettie Podell Ottenberg, she had organized troops of suffrage newsgirls to raise money for the cause. Later, she served as president of the D.C. League of Women Voters and helped D.C. residents gain the right to vote. Nettie Ottenberg also was a tireless advocate for the poor. She established a training program for welfare mothers and daycare centers for their children. During World War I, new government jobs, mostly clerical and secretarial, opened for women. Jewish women were among the thousands who came here to be government workers. There were now 8,000 Jews in the burgeoning capital city, and Jewish women's organizations worked hard to help the newcomers.
Not only is the organization providing wholesome amusements for the men in uniform, but they're helping the hundreds of girls who left their homes to do their share in making the world safe for democracy. Lillian Weisenberg.
The Young Women's Hebrew Association held dances, sewed for the soldiers, and visited them in hospitals. In a city where many neighborhoods excluded Jews, they found rooms in kosher homes and social activities for Jewish women. When the nation sank into depression, thousands of jobless and desperate people came to Washington looking for work. Anna L. Schulman was among those who founded the Hebrew Sheltering Society to provide a kosher meal and a room for Jewish men. President Roosevelt's New Deal program brought young Jewish professionals to the city for government jobs. A few better-paying jobs were opening to women, but some agencies refused to hire Jews, and many excluded married women. World War II changed the city and the world forever. Many local Jewish women joined the war effort, volunteering in hospitals and managing war bond campaigns. Jewish women were among those who responded to the government's urgent need for workers. Most were clerks or secretaries, some professional or military workers. Housing was scarce, and Jews were still excluded from many neighborhoods. Ruth Green at the Jewish Community Center organized a room registry to place government workers in Jewish homes. In Nazi-occupied Europe, Jews were being sent to death camps. Many groups in Washington mobilized to help Jews escape to Palestine and to send them food and medical supplies.
When all the diplomats and others may have failed, I still feel that the voice of the outraged women of Hadassah can make itself heard by one means or another. Denise Turover.
Denise Turover and the women of Hadassah campaigned to rescue 800 orphaned European Jewish children trapped in Tehran, Persia. They pressured the State Department, the Red Cross, and foreign governments until a British ship transported the Tehran children to Palestine. When the war ended, thousands of Holocaust survivors became displaced persons without homes or countries. The women of Washington helped many resettle here or in Palestine. With a new sense of urgency, they helped lay the groundwork for creating the State of Israel in 1948. Jewish women established or supported many institutions that are a mainstay of Jewish life today. In so doing, they forged new opportunities for women and created a community of caring that reached far beyond the nation's capital.